welcome back to the channel. Of course, there's a few things we're gonna go over. Some things we had to replace on the truck. You can't see it, but when I tell you about it, you understand what I'm saying. Now, there is a hidden mystery, and there's a big discovery that I made on this truck that I am just not a huge fan of. I'm so against what I discovered. I'm totally against what I'm finna talk to y'all about in the future. But we're gonna also go on a test drive run, and we're gonna do a point of view run with it. So we're gonna see how the truck drive while I'm on my way to work or whatever, or to my semi truck, and then go from there. All right. Without actually jacking the truck up, first thing I want to let y'all know is on this truck, last weekend the hub went out on this passenger side. Last weekend the hub, no, I'm sorry, not last weekend, the week before last, that Saturday the hub went out on my truck. It did not, the tire didn't roll off on it or nothing like that, but it was about to, so I ended up replacing the hub in this truck. I wish I could jack the truck up and show y'all, but when I went to jack the truck up, I was on the side of the road. I was going to a Pilot Flying G, and I was talking to my homeboy about the truck and the installation and whatnot, and then I just kept feeling, well, first off, I kept hearing grinding. I was seeing metal shavings throughout that week on the rim of the truck. I would clean on the rim, and I would try to clean it with a microfiber. Next, the end of the week, it'd be shavings still on there, so it'd be metal shavings or whatever, just like you sharpen a pencil and then the shavings be all over the desk. That's how it looked like that, right? So halfway down the road, all I heard was and then it's almost like my steering wheel was going out of control. My steering wheel was like acting crazy and stuff. I'm thinking it's a tie rod or something. Well, it was not a tie rod. It was the hub. I went to go mess with the rotor. I went to go push around on it and do all that good stuff. And then I went to go shake the rotor, because I jacked the truck up. I was on the side of the I-75, and I went to go shake the rotor and whatnot, and it was moving and had play in it. I'm like, I don't think you're supposed to do that. I'm thinking it's something wrong with the brake pads or something, because I also installed new brake pads, even though I didn't need new brake pads, because when I went to take the brake pads off to install the new ones, I realized that I had a lot of stone left on the other brake pads. Whatever material that's on there was a lot left. So I ended up installing new brake pads. Didn't even need that. With this hub or whatever, I had to get the hub that same day. I came back to the house or whatever. I drove real slow, real slow with my blinkers on. So I had my four-way flashes on, and I was driving real slow so I wouldn't get pulled over. And then I was about 20 miles away from the house, I would say, because going there from here to there is probably like 30, and then from there, halfway through, I had to stop the truck and get it right. So I was about 15-20 miles away from the house, and then I just ended up making it here by the grace of the Lord. So thank the Lord, or whatever, the Heavenly Father up above got me here safe. And it just seemed like I'm always like, let me get up off the ground. Seemed like I'm always getting saved from something. There's always something happening to the truck, and I'm getting saved for some reason. I didn't tell y'all, when I first got the truck, I had it for about a month, and it overheated on me. It was because the heater hose went out. The heater hose, like the little coupling on it, the heater hose was leaking, and it was because the coupling was cracked on it. So my truck was losing a lot of coolant and it was overheating. Well, I was on the phone with someone that knew a little bit about that stuff, and they said, hey, you know, best thing to do is pull over and, you know, find a source of water and fill up your coolant reservoir with water. And I did that. Well, later on, it did the same thing, heat up on me again. And this is after I replaced, if I'm not mistaken, this might have been the second time. I can't remember because it happened to me twice. It overheated, but I think the second time is when I was like, man, you know, I'm gonna just go ahead and replace it. And then the next morning I went and just went to the Advanced Auto and replaced it right there in the parking lot, because I was like, I'm not waiting to get home to do it. I'm gonna do it right now because I don't want it overheating on me and all of that. It was just a lot going on, and then, you know, it was just stuff with just all kind of stuff, man. It was just that, and then this ABS light, and, you know, my battery was acting up. One of the videos I showed y'all that the battery act like he ain't want to crank the truck over. So you look at that one and, you know, I'm thinking this my positive terminal cable, but it's not the terminal cable at all. It's the battery going out. Well, then that happened, and then next thing you know, I have a jumper wire on this truck to the starter relay. So that's another thing. It's like, you know, the truck has been having a lot of issues or whatever. I mean, I still think it's a solid truck, but, you know, it's got its issues. I can be honest with you. Especially, I think after that cam was installed, I think some stuff happened to that truck where it was, you might have to replace a little bit more. But yeah, I got new brake pads on it, you know, new brake pads. You know, as you can see, yes, I did, what you call it? Use brake lubricant or brake grease, because I know you can see that. You see the pads, you can tell they look pretty new. I do have to fix both wheel lights. So, well, no, I have to fix one wheel light over here because this is a double strip. So one of the strips over there I have to fix, of course, because it's going out. I think that the soldering undid itself, so we got to figure out a way to make sure that soldering stay put. So I'm thinking about getting like some caulk or, you know, some kind of silicone, because that is probably the only way that soldering is going to stay put onto the positive and negative side of the LED. And here you see it's grease, real good or whatever on the, yes. All right, you see, no movement at all, so we know that part is fixed. Now the hub that I got, it did come with the ABS wire already installed on the hub. It was a whole hub assembly, not just the hub, but the hub assembly. You see, I don't know how to check the hub with this one, but I'll shake it and it don't move. So the rear hubs are probably gonna be decent. You know, I don't underestimate nothing no more. You know, having an older truck, I don't underestimate anything no more. But the truck been riding smooth. You know, it's at times that ABS light, not the ABS light, I keep saying ABS, but that traction, stable track keep coming on. And, you know, it's real frustrating, you know. But that's how the truck look right now. Let me show y'all what it look like. That's what it look like right now when you got the leveling kit on. So I'm gonna give y'all a little breakdown of what I figured out. Let me lock this door real quick. Make sure I ain't got nothing to take with me. Nah, cause I don't really eat nothing during my day. I don't want to get the itis. but I am about to head to my park location. So I'm gonna give y'all a real live breakdown on what I figured out, and it's gonna blow y'all mind. So it turns out the person that had this truck had a 1 or 2 inch drop kit on this truck. That's why my truck don't look level with the 3-inch leveling kit. I didn't know about drop kits like that, like back then when I knew about lift kits. I know about lift kits more than a drop kit, but I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna step back and show y'all how you can tell it's a drop kit on here, because this is a 3-inch leveling kit, but if you look at it closely, you can tell the front is somewhat level to the rear. You know, it is somewhat level to the rear, and right now you can't really tell because it's on a slope, almost like you see a little tilt. See, if I hold the camera straight, you can see the little tilt. It's like a little hill. Well, if it was on flat surface, it would look like this. This is how it would look right here. So, you know, it's a nice truck. You know, it's a nice, the level, I like the level or whatever, but that's not what I was going for, because when you go to park certain parking places, it looked like I'm nosediving or whatever, and I don't want that look. I don't want the squat look. I am not a squatted truck type of guy. If that's your preference, that's your preference, but as I am, I'll explain that in a minute. But so I'm gonna show y'all that it's a 1-inch drop kit, because I'm missing a bolt or screw or nut, whatever you want to call it. I'm missing it on the outside of my spindle. It's a McGoy spindle. That's how we know it's a drop kit, because it's not a stock spindle, and it's only 2 bolts for the outside. Now there is a way you can bolt the 3rd bolt, which is the top one for the spindle, but I think you got to do some modifications, and I don't want to go through that headache. So that's why I'm so ready to go ahead and get the lift kit on. I do not want to spend extra money to get the stock spindles, because that's stupid, man. You know, it don't make sense. I'm not doing that. There's one, and there's 2, but the 3rd one is nowhere to be found. So you got 2 right here, but where's the 3rd one? So now when you look at the upper control arm ball joint, you see how the nut is all up in there? It ain't supposed to be like that. It's because it don't got enough leverage to push down for this spindle. That's why it took me about 8 hours to do that installation on my leveling kit. That's why I didn't record it, because it took me so long, and it was my first time ever doing a leveling kit on my, well, ever doing a leveling kit in general. And it took 8 hours to do a leveling kit. And it was because of some of these parts. It was hard to get off, and it was hard to put that spindle on, and I figured out what it is now. I mean, it was hard to put that upper control arm ball joint into the spindle, and I figured out why. It's because it's a freaking lowering kit. I do not like lowering kits, man. If that's your preference, that's your preference, but I think it's probably easier to deal with a lift kit, because you're dealing with bigger parts, extended out parts. You might have more to deal with, but it's better to add on than it is to subtract, because when you subtract, now you got to modify more. You know, you see where you're missing a bolt. So if that don't give you the answer of what I'm trying to tell you, I don't know what will. But let's do a test drive of the truck. I'm gonna tell y'all exactly what the deal is with the truck so far. All right, so we finna go ahead, head to work, and we're gonna talk a little bit about what I think. All of these boxes back here, that's the full-on lift kit right there. I have to get one more tool, and then I have to get a bottle of brake fluid. Okay, so 3-dot brake fluid, and then we can go from there. So these are all my tools. I did end up labeling every tool that I need for each part that I'm gonna be replacing. So if it's the upper control arms, I labeled the part where I labeled the bag for the upper control arm tools that I'm gonna need for the ball joint, and also for both sides of the cambers as well, or for the camber, and then also the bolt pin as well. So I got those tools. So it's probably gonna be 3 tools. 2 is probably gonna be the same size, like a 21 millimeter or something for the cambers, and then probably like a 15-16 millimeter for the ball joint. And then you got the tie rod tool, inner and outer, whatever. You just go from there, you know. But I got everything labeled for each one. Now I do not have my tool set aside for the cross member and frame or subframe. So when we do the installation, we just gonna figure that out together. All right, I do plan on recording it if I don't run into hard stuff. It's cold weather, so I don't know how this installation gonna turn out. By the grace of the Lord, I'm hoping that it turn out pretty dang solid. All we can do is just try, y'all. That's all we can do is try, you know. Just give me good weather, and that's all I ask for. So let's go ahead and get rolling. Whoops. So pretty much so far, I can be honest with you, the truck has definitely been a really solid truck. You know, it hasn't really given me issues that's not fixable. And of course, we never really know when the transmission and engine is about to go out. We don't actually really know that. It would have to be a major, something major happen, you know. But you know, I'm in the countryside or whatever. But it have to be something major go on to where we know that the transmission is going out or the engine is going out, of course, right? So over time, we'll figure out what the deal is with that, and then we'll decide if we want to replace that or not. But right now, we're going to our park location and whatnot. Now, was it hard replacing the hub with the drop spindle on it? Yes, it was hard. For one, the hub was the frame of the hub didn't want to come off of the spindle itself, because the hub the part of the hub that rotates inside of the spindle, it just pulled right out so easily. But the mounting part where you have to put the 3 bolts in, that part, when you unbolt it off, it was kind of hard to take off, so you had to pretty much hammer that part of the spindle off. I mean, you had to hammer that part of the hub off. So it wasn't hard per se, but it was very frustrating seeing that it had a drop kit on it. I'm totally against drop kits. Why? Because, you know, drop kits, I'm sure that it'll put less wear on your transmission and engine, of course, maybe some other parts of the truck. But look at what all you got to deal with when you have a drop kit. That's just only one thing that I discovered on this truck about a drop kit. Imagine if I had a full-on drop kit on this truck. Tight squeeze, you hardly got any room to work anywhere. Man, you know how frustrated I would be. Very, very frustrated. Now we can agree to disagree on it, but me, I am 100% against drop kits. there's no reason to get a truck to put a drop kit on it. That's crazy. If you want to get something low to the ground, just get a car. And that's just my logic and my theory on things, you know. If you want to get a dropped vehicle, there's cars, you know what I'm saying? But for a truck, you're putting a drop kit on it, and then when things go wrong, you want to go and sell it and try to get an arm and leg for it, and it don't work that way, you know what I'm saying? If you're going to, you know, do modifications to the truck, you know what comes with it. You probably won't be able to sell it for much, you know. You probably have to do repairs more often, you know. You got to know what you're dealing with before you get into it, because I believe some people, they think they just mod something and then the sky's the limit. That's not how it works, you know. The person that sold this truck, the person that got rid of this truck, they are missing out on so much potential with this truck, because the little that they probably didn't want to worry about when the miles got this high is the least of their worries, you know, because those things can be fixed over time, little by little, if you have the time and the money. Now, if you don't have the time and the money, okay, you probably want to get rid of this truck, because there's going to be times where it messes up on you, and, you know, that way that, you know, but, you know, if you're the type of person that don't have time to fix it, work on things, you shouldn't even get something. I wouldn't recommend getting anything used anyway. You probably do want to go with something more up to date, but just keep in mind, you still have to maintain that thing, you know, because if you don't maintain it, it's just going to be the same problem. Just, it happened over time for you. It didn't happen as soon as you got it, you know. Stuff started to happen as soon as I got this truck, which is good that I'm getting it out the way now. That's a good thing, because you don't want it to pile up on you later on. Brake pads, I probably don't have to change that out for a while. The hub, I probably won't have to change that out for a while. Battery, I probably won't have to change that out for a while. Radiator hose, heater hose, I probably won't change that out for a while. It wasn't the radiator. I think I said radiator hose earlier, but it wasn't. It was the heater hose that I replaced on this truck. And I did rubber to metal. I did not use the coupling for the heater hose, okay? I did not use the coupling. I used bare metal to metal, and then I used bare hose to the metal core of the water pump, and to the freaking the core, just right somewhere in the engine bay. I can't exactly say what it is because I'm not a full-on mechanic. But I did not use any plastic couplings or anything like that, and you know, it's been working just fine. You know, I ain't had no bubble up coolant reservoir, nothing like that. Everything been smooth sailing. You know, there's times where this truck may shift a little bit. Not a little bit. I don't know. I don't think it's the transmission. I think it may need a flush. The transmission, it may need a flush. But with these trucks, you know, if you do have smoke coming out of the exhaust, now this is what I've been told. Word through the grapevine, through mechanics, they say that this truck, due to the moisture inside of the exhaust, is going to produce smoke in the cold weather, right? In the exhaust pipes, is going to produce smoke, even if you have your heater and AC off. Because mine does produce a little bit of smoke, not a whole lot to where it looked like something's damaged, but it looks like almost as if the AC is on, or the heater is on or something. But then eventually I think it goes away. So that's another thing that I noticed about this truck, is that the exhaust has smoke, and the cam could possibly be a cause of that factor. But you know, smooth truck, you know. I don't dog it at all, actually. I don't dog it at all. This truck has gotten me through some things. I hauled a 15-foot trailer, I want to say, full of furniture, because we had to move from Carolina all the way up here to Ohio. And it did just fine. No issues at all, man. I mean, I don't understand where I went wrong, but I guess a 9 to 14 hour drive could do that to a truck when you do it about 3 times, because I did do that drive about 3 times. Not hauling the first time I hauled, but the second and third time I was not hauling anything. Okay, lesson to you guys that don't know how to drive, right? So you guys don't know how to drive because some people want to ride on bumpers, right? You don't want to be that type of person where you got a nice vehicle and you're just so anxious to get somewhere so fast because you're in a rush, or you're just anxious to get somewhere fast in general, where you're not paying attention and looking in front of you. Like that right there. This is a point where you may have to yield. You got to pay attention to the other people in traffic. You're not the only person in traffic. Stop trying to make it about you. It's not about you. That's why, as a CDL, Class A CDL driver, I see every day there's somebody pulled over, and I see like every 5 minutes there's somebody pulled over, because these new vehicles, it don't take much to speed in them, because for whatever reason the acceleration is just so amped up. For whatever reason, it is amped up. Hardly have to press on the gas to get acceleration. That's why I love my old truck, because you have to really press on the gas. Like, you got to really press on it to get some acceleration. It's hard to speed in this thing. And I don't see much of these trucks getting pulled over, to be honest. I don't see much of these body style Chevy Silverados pulled over on the road. I see every other new Chevy, GMC, Ford, Ram, everybody getting pulled over. But like a cat eye, this, OBS, and I see a lot of OBSs more than ever. I don't see none of us getting pulled over like that at all. I'll be the first to tell you. But you don't want to be that type of person to be so anxious to get somewhere, and then you the cause of the accidents. Now you're holding everybody up in traffic because you decided you wanted to be selfish. That's the last thing you want to do. You want to be smooth, laid back, chill, and all that, because you're gonna end up probably taking one of these women out on a date, or girls, whatever you into, out on a date. They're gonna see you don't know how to drive. They ain't gonna want to ride with you no more because they don't feel safe. That's what you don't want. You don't want to be an unsafe driver. You see how I'm laid back, chill. Sometimes I drive. Sometimes I drive. A little, like, I'm gonna show you. Sometimes I drive with my hands like this or whatever. My stable and track light on, as you can see. But yeah, sometimes I drive like that or whatever, man. But you don't want to be that type of person that drives your truck like a wild maniac. That's the last thing you want to do. So just be smooth, laid back, and chill, and everything's gonna be all right for you. Oh, that's a nice one. Damn. He was in a day cab too. Orange is one of my colors. But I'm at my park location right now. Shit, I'm parked at a Walmart. But see, I can't really see that well because the camera in the way. But yeah, you just want to ease on down the road. Oh my goodness, dude. I parked my truck. I'm gonna show y'all this. Every time I come here, I feel like people do this on purpose because they know, oh yeah, his truck ain't here today, we're gonna take his spot. Or they like, his pickup truck ain't here today, we're just gonna take his spot. I swear they do it on purpose. I can't stress it enough. But somebody parked in my parking spot, the same spot I park in every dang on day. Not complaining, but it is frustrating because look how close I parked my semi to the pretty much end of the aisle, or what you call it, because I'm trying to let folks know, hey, this is my parking spot. But look at this right there. Look at that. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just park like this. I don't have nothing to carry in there today, but yeah, the truck drives smooth with the new brakes and everything. I feel like I got a brand new pair of shoes on, y'all. You know, I park real smooth. I make sure I look around at my surroundings. I make sure I'm driving real slow, real careful. I'm not rushing. I'm taking my time. You know, guys, fellas. Listen. Even with the CDL, take your time, okay? If you're OTR, I get you gotta make your money. I did OTR, well, regional, all right? I did it for a week and I quit because it just so many different factors of why I decided I wanted to leave. Well, the company I quit from, I got called back. I make really good money. That OTR stuff, you don't make no money. Home daily is where it's at. When you get paid hourly, that's where you make your money at. You do not make no money on the road. Let me say that again. As a company driver, you do not make no money over the road. I don't know why people think they make so much money over the road. You're home daily and you get paid hourly. Do you not realize that you are not going to be running and ripping and running all over the place when you're home daily? So take your time. Every chance you get, take your break, sit down, do what you need to do. Don't go off duty, stay on duty until the end of your shift. That's how you make your money. Fellas, if you get into CDL, you may have to start out and get ragged on a little bit by whatever company you want to work for. But the goal is to get experience so you can be home daily. If you can't get home daily, then you're gonna have a hard time with CDL. It's not gonna be easy, okay? So everybody should have the mindset as a CDL driver that they do want their own. They say the market is bad. Fellas, I can't stress it enough. The market is only bad if you want it to be bad. There's ways around things, okay? There's a way to do it. But anyway, man, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Of course, you know, I got to get up out of here. I got to start rolling. Of course, I'm sure it's like around 12:30. I want to say about 12:30. Okay, so it's like 12:03 right now. So I'm about to go ahead. I'm about to get my tablet and go on duty, because I'm finna start my shift, man. I'm gonna go on duty. I'm gonna do a 10-minute pre-trip of the truck. I do not have a trailer. When I park my truck every night and go home, I don't have no trailer. Put this back in the bag. My gloves in there. All right, let's turn everything off, y'all. All right. Traction control light is on, and then tire pressure sensors. After I get some new tires, I may decide to put it on or whatever. But all right, we're gonna go ahead, turn our wheel lights off, and turn our rock lights off. And once again, connected to our wheel lights is also our headlights, DLR light bar or whatever. And then we're gonna turn the headlights off, and then we take the key, turn the truck off. By the way, I did have to replace the ignition cylinder and the ignition switch inside this truck, and I got new Dorman keys because I went with Dorman brand with it. And this was back in last year, November, so pretty much around the same time last year. I got the truck back in July or June. I think it was June. So yeah, I got the truck back in like summertime, and then I ended up replacing a good bit of stuff between summertime and now. So yeah, I did, and because you had to use the key and jiggle the key to get the key to turn in it. I forgot to tell y'all that too. So I did replace a good bit of stuff. I take pride in this truck because, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, I worked real hard for it, man. I was when I got the FJ, the FJ was blood, sweat, and tears. I was working a job. They were only paying me about $300 a week. So I was making about $1,000 a month. And I saved up pretty much every penny. You working hard to, if you in that situation, I'm gonna tell y'all in a minute after I get to my semi. Hold on. This is day 2, y'all. I want to go ahead and just let y'all know that something did happen to where I had to end up getting off the camera. Well, nothing happened. I just started my day, and you know, I just forgot to go about, you know, talking about the FJ and this truck situation. And you know, I just want to finish that up for y'all because I know that might be a little important. That might give somebody a little bit of hope or whatever. So we're gonna do a POV drive, of course, and you know, we're just gonna do a little test drive or whatever while we talk a little bit about the FJ situation. Now, if you look at one of my, if you look at one of my one of my first videos posted on this channel, it's the very first video. It don't have a lot of views or anything like that, but it's a video of the finished FJ Cruiser after a year of owning the FJ Cruiser. 07 FJ Cruiser had about 260K miles after I got done. I bought it for a good price around the time that I got it, which was 2020. I bought it. So when the market crashed and everything went real low, I took advantage of it. You know, I ended up getting a pre-approval check because, you know, I didn't have enough money saved up within that year. Of course, you know, I was still living with my folks and my parents, and I still was paying like rent. And I would say I was only getting paid $1,000. I was actually getting paid less than $300 a week when I was working at the company I was working at. It was a small trash pickup company, and I was the helper. And I was working with my older brother. He was the driver. You know, he made pretty decent. Not really a lot more than me, but you know, I say he made more than I did because he was a driver. Let's turn the heat up on this thing. I don't like to crank it up all the way because we don't want to overdo our condenser or heater or thermostat, whatever you want to call it. We don't want to overwork it because we want to keep it maintained as much as we can. So we don't want to blast it all the way to 90, but we don't want to be, you know, keep it too low either, you know. So instead of cranking the volume of it all the way to the max, we're gonna crank it up to the max, and then we're gonna go down 2 notches. 1, 2. We can even do 3. So it's at volume 3 right now. We got each side on 85 instead of 90. And that's how you keep your heater maintained, of course, you know. So back to what I was saying about the FJ. The FJ, you know, that was back in 2020 when the market crashed. I got a good deal. I drove from South Carolina. Well, my younger brother took me from South Carolina all the way to Cherryville, North Carolina, to a dealership. It's called William Auto and Truck Sales. And, you know, I did my research. I always do my research before I get a vehicle now. So ever since I had the FJ, I did my research. Ever since I had my first vehicle and the transmission went out on me, each vehicle I got, I just started doing research on it before getting it. I do years of research, not just 1 year. I do about a couple before I get it. And, you know, I already knew exactly what I wanted to do with the FJ Cruiser when I got it and everything. And I already knew exactly what I wanted to do to it. And then, you know, as you get it and drive it, you start to see more things because the mileage is so high. It's an older vehicle, it's been worn out. So you have other things you want to do to it cosmetic wise. That truck was listed at $9,000, I want to say. Almost $9,000. It was like 88,900 because it was at 230,000 miles and the market crashed, so it was at a low price, right? I got it and talked the price down to about 7,900, so pretty much 8,000, right? Pre-approval check for $8,000. I had saved up out of that year's worth of working at the trash company. Mind, I was only getting paid $1,000 a month, not a week, not every 2 weeks, 1 month. Every month I was getting paid $1,000. Okay, now I would take that money and I would save it, every dime that I could save, besides, you know, paying my phone bill. And even at a point of me paying my phone bill, I stopped paying my phone bill actually for a few months to save up the extra $80 or $90 a month with having my service with Verizon. Well, that put me up by a good deal because that helped out a whole lot. Was it worth it? I think it was well worth it because at the time, you know, my thing was it's no need to try to be on social media contacting folk when you know there's things that need to be done. That's too much distraction. So, you know, I felt it was time to like hone in on every source of energy that I needed, you know, and I needed my energy. You know, I went on a vegan diet and whatnot. I fasted a few times or a couple times. I was, you know, reading my Bible a good bit because, you know, when you don't have a vehicle and you have nowhere to go and you're just sitting in your room at your parents' house, and, you know, what else is there to do, you know? You know, where I lived in the country, you know. No one wants to take you anywhere unless you got money, got gas, and, you know, I didn't go out. You know, I was on groceries at the time. I actually would only spend about, I'm gonna be honest with you, I would buy only $20 to $30 worth of groceries. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be really, that's the time to be cheap, okay? I'm not gonna say frugal. That's not frugal. That's being cheap because I didn't spend nothing, okay? I did not. I had a shoebox because I got paid checks under the table. No taxes taken out. Well, yeah, taxes were taken out. The company did it themselves, of course. Taxes were taken out. Got my check. After my taxes, it was $290 something a week. $292 a week, I want to say. I saved everything I could save. Probably was paying about, I want to say about $150 a month to stay with my mom and dad. Still, I was paying $150 staying with them. So that subtracted, and, you know, at first I was paying my phone bill, and then I stopped paying it. I closed out my account with them. So with Verizon, I'm letting y'all know this because the situation you in, and you guys, you might hate your job, because that's what y'all like to do. Y'all like to hate your job, the thing that's paying your bills. I'm telling you now, instead of hating your job, appreciate it and work it until you can find something that you no longer hate, okay? Or whatever. But you have to see the good in it somewhere. You got somewhere down the line, you got to see the good in it, because you're going to keep going from job to job. You're going to keep being jobless. You're going to never have no money coming in. And that's a hard thing in this day and age, finding work, okay? So if anybody else is listening, thank the Lord that you even still alive, for one. But thank the Lord that you have a decent or a job that you can work, even though it pays you every 2 weeks. Thank the Lord, because you could be one of these people on foot for real and never have a car ever again. But you know, the Lord has blessed us to have the ability to work and things like that. Take advantage of that ability, and don't be ungrateful about it, you know. It's hard, because I've been there, you know. I've been through some jobs. Oh, I can go through a list of them. You probably won't believe me, but you can't count how many jobs on these two hands right here. You cannot count the amount of jobs I've been on off of just these two hands alone. You're gonna need a couple more other hands. For real. So I mean, you know what I'm saying? But now I got something solid, more steady, and I'm not tripping. But you know, there's a way to do it, but you have to know your limit. You can't have it all. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, you can't have it all. There's a time and a place for everything. There's a time where you will be able to do the fun stuff you want to do. You will be able to give more. You will be able to, you know, contribute in certain things. But there are some times where you're going to have to be very, very selfish and stingy. That was the time that I was selfish and stingy. Because why? Because if I wasn't selfish and stingy and I was such a giver, what good is that going to do for the person that's giving me rides all the time to get to work? My older brother, borrowing his car. You're not helping no one out by trying to be such a giver, you know, because you're prolonging the time. You're prolonging their time to get done what they need to get done, because they have to, not have to, but they choose to want to cater to your want and needs, okay? So this is why we say sometimes you have to go off grid in a way. Let me just say it like that. So for those of you that think that you're gonna make so much money and you just gonna give it all away and spend it, you ain't got no car, you ain't doing nothing but hurting the person that's helping you, because there is somebody helping you. Whoever it is probably should stop helping you, because you not want to help yourself. Someone that don't want to help yourself, you can't help nobody else, because all you're doing is hurting everything you do, you know? So me, I did myself a service. Instead of hurting the person that was helping me, I helped myself. Same thing when I got this truck. I had help. Someone had to take me to work every day for a year, almost a year. What did I do? Save every dime and every penny and not spend it. I did buy a Ford Ranger, 94 Ford Ranger. The transmission went out after 6 days of having it, 5 days of having it. That's why it's good to have tools and know how to fix things. Because what if it wasn't a transmission? What if it was just a battery? You know what I'm saying? I could just replace the battery instead of selling the truck. But it wasn't. The transmission went out. The gears stopped shifting. And it stopped making, you know, I wasn't able to move forward no more. I was only able to go in reverse. But like what I was saying, the FJ, it was a solid vehicle. You know, I drove to Tennessee and back with it from South Carolina to Tennessee, from Tennessee back to South Carolina. You know, I would, you know, it was my daily driver, of course. I appreciated it. I took good care of it as best as I knew how to take care of it at the time. Oil changes, you know, everything. And actually paid that. I was supposed to pay it off, but I ended up selling it because I wanted to get this Chevy Silverado. And, you know, that's how I was able to get my truck. I saved pretty much everything, and I wasn't being I wasn't being careless with my money. I was being very, very, very selfish and mindful, you know, at the time. Right now, and then after I got it, actually, I stopped being selfish. I got into a relationship, and then I was giving more, you know, I was giving more, and then that would sidetrack you, right? And then after I got this truck, I started to be a little more selfish as well with this truck, because I don't want to go back to ever being on foot. So right now I'm a little bit more selfish still, or I'm a little selfish still, because I don't want to ever go back on being on foot. The minute that you give slack on something that's used or older, you probably will end up in situations where you can't get yourself out of at the timely manner you need to, if you're not already working on other things, because it's gonna hit you like boom, 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 boom. This is why we have YouTube channels where there's people that constantly work on their vehicles. It's to show other people, of course, myself included, it's to show other people, of course, how to do it, but it's also to show them that it's really not that hard. People make it hard because people think they're so busy they can't get up under you know, and do their own thing. But that's the FJ, you know, I'm at my park location or whatever. Yeah, that's the FJ Cruiser. You know, I do miss it at times, and you know, of course I do wish that I could get it back and, you know, maybe take a little bit more care of it. Even though I think I did take enough care of it, I think there's some things that I didn't do for it that I should have done. So the FJ Cruiser out the picture. I don't think that I'm gonna be able to get another one because I'm so hooked on the Chevy Silverado train that I can't see past the FJ Cruiser, you know. I mean, I can't see past the Chevy and GMCs. And I'm gonna tell you another thing. So with this Chevy Silverado truck, this Chevy Silverado, it came cammed already with a stage 2 cam in it. It already came with the Flowmaster dual exhaust. I think it's like a I can't remember the exact series, but I have it on my phone on this one right here, but I can't look it up right now. But if it were me, if I were looking to get a truck like this, in my God honest opinion, the first thing I would do, knowing what I know now, is, well, even before I got the truck, I already knew about the cam situation. But knowing what I know now, I would definitely go with a cam. I would definitely cam the truck, and I would definitely put exhaust on it. Those would be the first 2 mods that I do. Why? Because with a cam, it deletes the active fuel management, but then the exhaust is the accessory that adds on the aesthetic. And it's not as, I wouldn't say aesthetic, but it just goes hand in hand. When you do a cam, of course, the exhaust would be the next thing, typically what you would do, because it makes perfect sense. You don't do a cam and then do a lift kit, you know what I mean? Because it don't go hand in hand. You would do a cam and then an exhaust, you know. So if I were to get another truck like this, which I do plan on doing, probably the same body style, year, and everything, you know, it'd probably be this, or it'd probably be the GMC Sierra and the same thing. Forgot to show y'all one thing. See, this the hub right here. That's it right there. I'm gonna show y'all exactly what I had to do. This was the part that was stuck inside of the you can see where I hammered it real good. Even right there, I hammered it as much as I can, but I was putting the hammer to it, man. Yeah, this is the part that was stuck inside of the spindle, and it's got 3 holes, but the top hole is covered by the spindle itself, right? So this top part is covered. So the only way you can get access to this is from the inside, from the outside of the hub, okay? This part was easy to pull out or whatever. So it was you could tell it's beat. And then the bearings, that's why the shavings was on the rim or whatever. So that's why the shavings it kept showing up on the rim like that, because the hub was already going out, and I think it was going out for it was probably going out since last year, to be honest, ever since I put those wheel spacers on there. So now, after we get the hub out the way, of course, we just go ahead and I think the Lord trying to show me first, before I end up installing that kit, I may want to I'm parked a little too close, but after before I install that 7 to 9 inch kit, I may have to go ahead and replace a few things first. And it's understandable. I'm glad that he's showing me to get it out the way right now and not wait until later, because Lord knows nobody want to be strung out on the side of the road with no damn lift kit.